In this video, I'm going to explain to you why I think we're getting much closer to hard disclosure. We've already had soft disclosure, as it has been verified that there was a program within the Pentagon studying UFOs called AATIP. According to Luis Elizondo, not only does this program still exist, but that the UFOs that were being studied were not believed to be from any military inventory in the world. For those that erroneously asserted that AATIP was studying perceived human technology, even though Luis Elizondo and former Majority Leader Harry Reid made it abundantly clear that's not the case, we now have documentation from the DIA Office of Corporate Communications that simply was never the case. Here in a Fox News article, Nick Pope explains the significance of a newly acquired DIA letter to Congress that the late John McCain requested about AATIP. The DoD and the DIA have previously sought to spin AATIP as being a program looking at foreign advanced aerospace weapon threats, but the attachment to the DIA's letter to Congress is difficult to reconcile with this, given that the products produced under the AATIP contract are listed as including reference papers on topics which seem more concerned with space travel. Nick Pope, a former employee at the British government's Ministry of Defense, said in comments obtained by Fox News. Pope continued, "The smoking gun is the paper about the Drake equation, which is used to estimate the number of civilizations in the universe. This supports the suggestion that AATIP was indeed a UFO program as has been claimed, and not an aviation program looking at aircraft, drones, and missiles." Here's Nick Pope on the Tucker Carlson show being adamant about the true nature of AATIP.
And for anyone who's trying to say, well, this isn't really about UFOs, it's about next generation aircraft, missiles, and drones, no, it isn't. Harry Reid has made it perfectly clear this is about anomalous objects in our airspace, and call them UFOs, whatever you like. You know, we take them seriously. The government has been looking at this.
And here's Nick Pope in that same interview expressing his wishes that within the very near future, Congress will hold public hearings regarding UFOs visiting our world.
And I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, maybe months, Congress is going to say more about this. The Armed Services Committee will speak out, and maybe we'll have public hearings at which all this will be revealed.
Lucky for all of us, Nick Pope is not a lone voice in desiring congressional hearings on the UFO subject take place. Very recently, former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid did his first on-camera interview in more than a year and called for congressional hearings on the UFO subject. Interestingly, according to LasVegasNow.com, under Senate rules, Reid was prohibited from lobbying his former colleagues for 2 years. That time limit expired earlier this month, and he's been making calls to key people in Washington about this issue. I'm about to show you a small segment from the recent interview with George Knapp and Harry Reid. George Knapp says the following. In 2009, Senator Reid tried to turn AATIP into a special access program, in part so it might gain access to evidence that has not yet been made public. And with that reference, George Knapp goes on to say to Harry Reid,
"It suggests that maybe there are other studies or programs that might shed light on this mystery?"
Other programs that have been done and information they have, including different pieces of evidence.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
It's funny to see Reid smirk at the end of his answer, as if he knows a lot more than he's telling us, like, I don't know, the existence of an alleged crash retrieval program within the U.S. government that has long been spoken about by many credible individuals. If you want to watch that full interview, a link is in the description below. Here is an Instagram post by Tom DeLonge posted on February 19th. My little old company at To The Stars Academy has grown so much over the year, and we have now partnered with many groups within the Department of Defense, the U.S. intelligence community, major defense aerospace, and other international governments. We have sold multiple TV series, announcement coming, and our first feature film aims to enter production in May. We have achieved an enormous and revolutionary breakthrough with the Atom Material Science Project, and we have completed program plans for beamed energy propulsion and space-time metric. Yikes. A lot to say here. We have also brought on a new To The Stars Academy Advisory Board member, Chris Herndon, from the White House, who has decades of U.S. government experience. Chris was, until recently, the Chief Information Officer overseeing all secure communications for the executive branch. Chris supports our effort and believes strongly in our mission to learn more about revolutionary technologies, help the U.S. government's efforts on UAP matters, and to educate the public on our findings. Exciting times ahead. Sometimes I laugh when people say he quit his band to chase aliens. Ha! If you only knew that all the while I was sitting in the captain's seat during the biggest event to ever happen to mankind. Confirmation. Now, this is a fascinating expose by Tom DeLonge on many fronts. Beyond the bombshells of DeLonge saying that To the Stars Academy has partnered with the DoD, the U.S. intelligence community, major defense, aerospace, and international governments, he also conveys that he has brought on a new advisory board member named Chris Herndon, who is well connected with President Donald Trump. Does this suggest that Donald Trump's well aware of the worldwide disclosure process that's underway? I would say most likely yes. And I hope that Trump is going to be part of the solution, which is transparency on the nature of our universe. Here, DeLonge responds to someone's comment under the same Instagram post. At Austin Stephen, our job is part getting the Congress up to speed and ready for this conversation, then part delivering the facts to the public that can be verified and trusted, then another part studying the exotic material and seeing if we can understand it and reproduce it, another part building major media properties so the international conversation can start, then another part creating a formal information sharing system for all governments of the world through To the Stars Academy, and lastly, another part building to after structure necessary to achieve the production of revolutionary technologies. That's a lot to do in 1 year, so give me a quick minute to show you over this next year how we achieved a lot of these things. I want to leave you with a final thought that I wrote on my Twitter account today. The ironic thing about disclosure is it's not asking for special treatment. It's asking for transparency on the nature of our universe. At the end of the day, that's not asking much. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, you can check out my merch shop, link is in the description below, or you can even become a patron. Or you can just slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.